Hello and
Hello.
welcome back
Happy
to
Tuesday.
episode number 2 of The Vulnerable Life. This camera is
Do we need to
is it
wipe it
the
off?
lights? It probably is. Hold on.
Yeah. But then
Just
we're
a
gonna
quick interlude.
hang tight for
guys.
1 second. Hang tight. Better?
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Alright. Okay, welcome back.
Yeah, we
Episode
definitely need a clear lens so we can shoot this live podcast.
Yeah, so what
Let us start off today first by letting you know that we are coming to you after a really tough
thank you.
visit. We got a call this morning that our good friend was losing her battle to cancer. And Lexi and I quickly said we're going to put off the podcast so we can go love on her and show support to the family.
Yeah.
And we did that. It was tough.
It was really tough, and I told her it's as it being a childhood best friend. You have an image of people that you don't see for a while, I think, and when you see them at their worst, you're like, oh wow, you really are grateful for, I don't know, mom, just life, just being able to. Very grateful for us to be able to walk out of that situation, right? She can't get out of the bed and walk out of that situation, unfortunately.
No, and I watched her dad hold her hand. I think the one thing that, we've had some of this in our own family, but I think a parent burying their child,
Absolutely.
I don't know that it gets worse than that. He was just professing his love to his daughter and took a ring off of his hand and put it on her hand and said, I want you to wear this forever. And so anyway, the point is, we come to you today because the reason we started this podcast was to take you on a journey home.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means we're going to walk this really, really tough path of life together. We're going to show you what not okay looks like and how we're getting to a place of our own homecoming and how we're going to be vulnerable and do all the things that
make us happy and make our life full.
Yeah.
And that way, when our time does come, we'll never have to look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have. So that's just something that we want to help you guys with and help ourselves with, and that's really what this book, Homecoming, I don't have my cover page on it, but
it's not too late. Go get this book.
Yes, we're only in chapter 4. Seriously.
Scarlet Rose in Ludlow. If you're not close to Ludlow, they'll ship you the book.
Mm-hmm.
So get the book, support local business, go to Scarlet Rose and join us. This book is about learning how to love yourself and the people around you appropriately, because at the end of the day, if there's nothing else in this world that we deserve, it's love. It's authentic, good, wholehearted love.
Yeah.
And so
appreciation. I think that's one thing that people don't really, I think, don't know how to do. I don't think, you can speak more on this than I can because of the timing, but as times back then, her generation wasn't raised on letting people know that it was okay to appreciate yourselves and love yourselves and not being quiet to keep somebody else's peace, right? I think that's a lot of us right now.
That's how I was raised, right? Though. You don't speak unless you're spoken to.
Well, and you weren't raised to have negative emotions. You weren't those negative emotions, the sadness, the anger, the rage.
To suppress that. Don't let anybody see you like that.
Right.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
For who though, right? Not for your own. It was for somebody else's face, and keeping it.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what this book is about, is being able not to do that.
Yeah, and I think seeing our friend lay in a bed today made this even more important than it was before, because we don't know how much time any of us have left in this world. And
Absolutely.
learning how to cherish every second and make the most of what we're doing is what it's about. The title is Homecoming. The description is overcome fear and trauma to reclaim your whole authentic self. That's our goal. It's a journey. It's something we're going to have to work on every day. And from now until the end of time,
Yeah.
this is that you have to decide to go home. We want to take you on this journey with us. We learned about this book on a podcast. Mel Robbins, if you're out there,
Yes,
and you
big fans of Mel Robbins.
changed everything for us, Mel. So, and she introduced us to the author Tima Bryant.
Outstanding woman.
She's a remarkable woman who, has been through all the things of life, race and oppression and sexual abuse and all the things. And she tells a story at the beginning of her book. It's labeled Homesick and Disconnected. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so basically what she is talking about here is how do you the metaphor, right? Like the metaphor of the chicken and the eagle that you're going to hear about. It applies to us as humans, right? So
and where we are in our life, or where we see ourselves, but where I think we hold our own selves back sometimes, right? So where we see ourselves now and where we should be.
So a little bit of a summary of the story that I am going to talk about here. It's an old, an African folk tale, would you say?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about this farmer or this animal expert.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything good, sir?
Great. Thank you.
So it's about this animal expert that notices an eagle on a chicken farm. And we all know how majestic eagles are and how not so majestic chickens are. So as
he sees him like in the middle of the chicken coop.
Yes.
So there's this eagle in the middle that's surrounded by all the chickens.
So just from this page, it says they walked back from the farm, and the expert picked up the eagle and said, "Listen to me. You're an eagle. You can fly. They are chickens. They can't fly. So go on and fly." The eagle looked at the man, then looked back down at the chicken brothers and sisters eating their chicken food. He hopped off the man's arm, started eating the food. The farmer laughed at the expert and said, "Told you, I don't have any eagles." The expert was shamed and vexed, and he says, "I'm coming to go." He left the farm the next day. He came back so early in the morning that God had not awakened yet. He knocked at the farmer's door. The farmer was frustrated, but let him in. He walked to the back of the barn and picked up the eagle. He climbed on the top of the barn. He told the eagle, "All your life, people have treated you like chicken. They taught you to talk like chicken, eat like chicken, and think like chicken. But you are not a chicken. You are an eagle. You can fly, so fly." At that moment, the sun started to rise. The animal expert said, "You see how far the sun is? You can go there. Now fly." The eagle thought, "This man will come bother me every single day until I try this thing. So let me try." He stretched his wings, and my people, you have never seen such a beautiful sight. The eagle flew towards the sun, and the farmer never saw him again.
And I think hearing you read that story, which I've read 100 times now, that's what this podcast is for us. We started this because it was a necessary thing for us, and we just jumped off the top of the building.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing we are very not good at doing, because we're very conscious of our decisions. I would say, like we look for
Almost to a point that we
validation,
hold
almost.
ourselves back.
in our way, and self-sabotage ourselves and rob ourselves of opportunities. So
Yep, absolutely. And the Homecoming book is so fantastic because it has homework. It's got homework that you do at the end of each section, and it really forces you to stop and think about all the things that she's talking about through here, and it helps you to apply them to yourself. So honestly, take this journey with us. It's worth it. What do you think? Is there one takeaway from, we read the first 4 chapters.
Mhm.
I can tell you that personally, Lex, I read and highlighted and read and highlighted.
Absolutely, same.
And I got to a point at one time, I think we talked about this in the car yesterday, but I got to a point where I was like, yep, I do that wrong. Yep, I do that wrong. Yep, I do that wrong. And I thought, wow,
What's wrong with
what's
me?
wrong with me? I am doing it all wrong. And that's not really the case, guys. Sometimes we're just going through life and doing the best we know how.
Mhm.
But if we don't attempt to get better, then those things never get fixed. And I am determined to break generational curses for my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids. And so this is a personal attack for me on how to break these curses. And unfortunately, I realize after starting this journey that I have to unpack all the shit first. And you know, I'm that person as I'm reading this where I realize I don't really know how to be loved. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like. I don't know if I know how to accept it. I always feel like that the shoe's going to drop and something's going to go wrong instead of just expecting the best. And I end up self-sabotaging, which is a whole section in this book. But I'm determined to take the journey.
And I mean, me too. I think there were chapters that were a little harder for me to read. You know, the reparenting yourself. You know, having a father figure, right? Like, you know, having one but not having one. So it's really hard to I don't know, read some of the things because it talks about affirmations and having a parent who didn't do that or didn't I don't know, validate your successes or failures even. Like it was very one-sided. So it was only a relationship if I succeeded, right? Or if I was doing what I was supposed to. Because then, you know,
in
there's
his
no
eyes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But because then, you know, then there was no having to fix anything or even having to be a parent because, you know, when things were going good, the relationship was good. But I think that's one thing that definitely the reparenting one was hard for me because there is just so much unpacked trauma that I have from, you know, that time. And again, nothing to do with her, but
Well, I
it's just
mean,
been
we
hard.
talked about that yesterday. I think as a mom, really hard on myself,
You
right?
are.
And I said to you yesterday, like, I read this book and thought, oh my God, I brought 3 human beings into this world and I was ill-equipped to do that. Like, how could I be so selfish?
And you know, I play devil's advocate, right? She didn't have that growing up. You know, at least with I can say is I had a mom who gave me resources like this to go read and better myself, or is learning how to heal herself and teaching me how to heal myself as well. So,
Well, and not to be 48 years old and
Mhm.
trying to go on a journey to come home to myself and be authentic to myself. I want my kids to do that now from the beginning. I want them to have the skill set to take care of themselves first.
Yeah.
And that's not,
We
not
talked
something.
about breaking generational curses. You've already begun that process. So
I hope so.
you
I
know,
hope so.
oh, well, you have. I mean, just look at the work that you've done for your kids. I mean, you could have used everything that's happened to you in your childhood as an excuse, but instead, you know, you turned your trauma into something positive, right? Like,
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people in this world that can say that.
Right.
You know, a lot of people who's gone through it, they are strung out on drugs on the streets,
Yeah.
or they don't see their kids, right?
Right.
Like, could you imagine that?
Right.
So, like I
And
said,
our audience doesn't know the extent of it yet. I think over time we'll be able to deliver that information to them.
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I'm not I can tell you I'm not ashamed at all of what's happened over my life. And it's nobody's fault. It's just I was, you know, wrong place, wrong time, and just some things happen. But the reality of it is I never used it as a crutch. I used it as motivation to get out of that situation and be able to find success for myself and my family. And that's for that I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of that.
And I'm proud of her. I think that's one
Thank
thing
you.
that parents don't always get is, you know, they are so you know, they're your first cheerleader, right? You know,
For
they're
sure.
they're your first. I don't know. They heal everything. So I feel like sometimes us children will forget to be like, "Mom, we're proud of you," or "Mom, you're doing
Yeah.
an amazing job."
And I think the one thing that we have to remember is when you have unhealed wounds and unresolved grief, man, they show up in such destructive and unhealthy ways,
Absolutely.
and you don't even realize it's happening. You don't even realize what's happening. So, so that's part of this journey, is to say where in my life am I showing signs of unhealthy ways, so that I can get better and be the best version of yourself, which is, I don't know, that's what we're all trying to do in this world.
Yeah. Can I
Good,
have another
thank
line,
you.
please?
Just discovered that the drape on the couch is a poncho. It kind of looks perfect.
It works great. It works great. The other thing that I think for me, Alexis, that's been a little bit challenging is figuring out. Gosh, it's almost hard to say where I fit in within my age group of people, where I fit in and how I manage my relationships. And over the last year, I've had to exit people stage left, and some people just walked out unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Friendships, not any relationships type stuff, but friendships that, man, it really surprises you. It makes you wonder where you went wrong, and where if
Thank you.
if for a second there's something wrong with me,
Right.
Um,
But I think we go back to the comment we made last week of being too much, right? I think that saying to me is like, well, what do you mean I'm too much?
Yeah.
Are you maybe you're not enough, right?
Well,
Like that's
yeah. It was actually said to me in one of the exit stage left relationships, is that I was too much, and that's okay, because you're not enough for me. So
right.
that's okay.
And that's okay to say. I think we get so caught up as it's almost rude or mean, but at some point you have to look yourself in the mirror and love what you see, right?
Yeah.
So if you're too much for somebody, maybe it's time to find someone that's on your level, right? Like friends, relationships, businesses. I know a lot of people go through business where they're too much for their job, but
yeah, or
I
they
think I'm
outgrow
kind of
it.
going through that right now too. As the season gets started, I'm very intense. I'm very loud. I'm in your, not really in your face, but just passionate. I think is the best way to
Passionate,
put
for
it.
sure.
So I think sometimes, yes, I can overdo it, but I think sometimes the people around me, it's almost intimidating.
Well, it definitely is intimidating, because they don't have their own confidence to do it. So you have to stay your own course. The best example I can come up with when you talk about coaching is, I worked for Bob Huggins for many years. He's the most wonderful man out there, and people can say whatever they want about him.
He's a
I
damn
watched
good
that
coach.
man
Yep.
scream and yell and MF a guy, but at the end of the day, he had his arms around them. They were at their house for Christmas. Like, they were family, that man. But that's similar to what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Is that that passion, and it evolves into love. And what your girls will see will be the same result as what Bob had. His people will feel the love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Nick.
love
Oh,
that.
best cameraman in the city, in the country. Yeah, we are not gonna. Nick said never apologize for who
you are.
For who
People
you
can
are.
come and
People
go.
can come and go. And Nick, you are one of those people that, gosh, we appreciate so much.
Yes,
You do
absolutely.
good work. So thank you for jumping on. One of the things that in the book, and we're referring to the book a lot today because it's fresh in our mind, and we want people to jump on this journey. But there's a poem called The Beginning. It says, "We stand in this place of scattered pieces, seeing memories of our lives reflected in the broken glass. Tears on our faces or stuffed in pockets, roars and whispers locked in rib cages, slightly moving with shallow breath, holding certainty in our mind and questions in our heart. We arrive at this place we have all called home. But we realize the walls don't match the original design. Our feet are hungry for earth. Our ears await the sound of our authentic voice. Tired of walking on this narrow trail based on the map others have drawn for us. Then up from the belly, we hear the alarm. This isn't me, this isn't me. As the alarm reaches our hearts, we take off. Sometimes running, sometimes walking, sometimes stretching, but always heading home. Detours and all, we are heading home, just like the eagle did,
Yeah.
you know? So, I think you guys can tell this book is hitting in places I don't know if we expected, right?
At all.
But it's a much needed journey, and even though I am hard on myself at times throughout the book, I'm excited to read the next page, because with every reading, I learn something else about myself, and I know I'm one step closer to being home. Lex, what do you think, if we were to identify the one thing right now from your perspective about me?
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you see?
For you,
Mm-hmm.
it can only be one. No, I was kidding.
Well, damn.
I think the biggest challenge for her right now is seeing her worth. She, like I said, the whole childhood trauma thing, she didn't have a great one. So I think knowing that it's okay not to be okay, I think knowing that you will have better days, and better days are going to be upon us when we weed out the toxicity of all things in our life, relationships, friendships, business partners. Like, I think all of that, once you know your worth and what and you set your price, because you need to know your worth and add tax. And I think you adding the tax to your worth, you're not very good at making you more, cost more, not money literally, but emotionally. And we are such, men talk about they want women with big emotions, right? Like, but what would come with, or big hearts, sorry, but what comes with the big hearts is big emotions, right? And I think that we fall short sometimes because of our big heart.
Yeah.
But knowing your worth and doubling it, honestly, I think,
Right.
because you got the confidence, you got, the mentals, and, the business and the looks. Now it's, what do you think of yourself, right?
Yeah.
What about me? What do you think right now is the number one thing that I need to work on?
I think for you, it's identifying what's next, right? So where are you going? Coaching's beginning for you. We talked about this in the car yesterday. What does this look like? You going back to school to get the degree you need to be a coach,
Absolutely.
a college coach? Is that what your end goal is? And so I think for you, even if it's minute baby steps, every day, whatever action you take for yourself that day has to be something that's going towards that goal.
Absolutely.
Whether it's just making the phone call. I told you yesterday, I got some stuff going on, and I was dreading a phone call, and I thought, I'm just going to make the phone call. I made the phone call, and I was like, I wanted to do a dance. Like, I was celebrating the fact that I made the phone call.
And I think that's awesome, because like when we talk about our old selves all the time, right? Like, I tell her all the time, Leanne a year ago wouldn't have done that. Like, she wouldn't have celebrated herself. And that, maybe that's another thing that you do need to work on, is celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
You are so quick to go celebrate me or the boys or anybody else, right? And it's just like we talked about today, finding that child, right? Finding that little girl, making sure that little girl is taken care of.
And what she's talking about is, I went through an empath class with Maura Reed. If you guys don't know Maura, look up Shine Free with Maura Reed. She's incredible. But it was a class where she put us into a deep meditation, and we had to go find ourselves, the version of us in baby form, laying in a field of wildflowers. And you had to go over to the baby and comfort the child and love on them and do all the things that you and I would do if we were picking up our friend's baby. Right. And then you had to go see the child at 9 or 10 years older, like peeking out from behind a tree, and that little kid was afraid. They were scared, and you had to go over and comfort them. And when I saw myself in a light of a little kid and the need for that little girl to still be comforted, it really changed the way I think about myself and how to love me. So that was when my mind started to change about how to love myself, and that was huge. So the piece of this that I think I find hard as I continue to put myself in toxic, draining spaces. And if you're in that space where the toxicity and things are draining, you're disconnected from your journey home.
Yeah.
You've got to find that way to pull back the toxicity and really be in a place of peace.
Well, and also know what the toxicity looks like, right? I think sometimes when we're with somebody all the time, we get so used to the chaos, right? We used to say this all the time, right? We just got so used to the chaos, we know how to deal with it. So when we're in front of someone who doesn't bring the chaos, doesn't bring the drama, we're like, oh, we don't know what to do with you. Like, we don't know how to deal with that because all we know is chaos and drama and just crazy
Well, and
things.
they teach you in here that drama and chaos, if you get addicted to it and don't know how to survive without it, right? So if you continue to invite that into your life, you never get the freedom and peace that you ultimately deserve. One of the things I highlighted in the book says, homecoming is a decision to occupy your life, to engage with what animates you and breathes new life into the dry bones of your circumstances. And that for me is, I want this journey to occupy my life. And not that I won't have bad days, because that's unrealistic to think that that's the case. But I wanna have so much stability on this journey that I know how to let this occupy me in a good way.
Yeah. So it's funny that we have been talking about it because I had something kind of highlighted here, and it says one distraction technique many of us, what does that say, cognizant? Aren't
Cognizant of?
Yes.
Which, like aware of?
Yeah. Is the creation of drama. Some of us have become experts in changing and creating drama because I have a lot going on out there. I do not have comfort in what's happening here within me.
Okay, and so it's funny you highlighted that. I looked to see if I highlighted the same thing you did, but mine was a little further down. I said, if I am in warrior mode, fighting others all the time, I am likely missing my sense of home. I am unsettled and need everything around me to reflect my state of mind.
That's so funny. Oh my
because
gosh.
If you're always, you guys, I'm going to be completely honest. I lived in fight mode for so long. I lived in fight mode. And you know what? I'm going to be really authentic here for a second.
Vulnerable.
Please put your seatbelt on. This is a vulnerable moment. When Griffin went to join All Ohio Basketball, the guys that were putting the team together, big shout out to those guys, shared with me that they heard that Griff was a crybaby and that I was crazy. And they weren't wrong. They are wrong now.
Absolutely.
Right? They weren't wrong. And, Lexi will tell you, as much as I found myself and told myself I was fighting for my kids and, arguing with every ref and all the things. It was so stupid. And so he said to me, I just can't believe what people said about you because I haven't seen any of that from you. He said that to me. And, it's that moment where you wanted to crawl on the shell, like, oh my gosh, thank goodness he never saw that in me. And I'm sorry the people who told him that did. But it's been a journey of healing and recognizing what was causing. But I was in fight mode all the time.
Yep. Lived
in fight mode. I can't imagine the damage it caused to me internally. I don't even want to know, but I lived there for a really long time. So we told you this is going to be raw and authentic, and you're going to see all the shit that we did and went through, and then you're gonna watch us come out on the other side.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
this is about.
Yeah.
So funny how we pick different pieces,
but of the same thing.
And wildly relevant.
So one more thing, just kind of on the same kind of subject we've been talking about, another thing I highlighted was another indication of homelessness or disconnection from self is being in relationships that dishonor you. Again, you
Is
know,
this a jab? I'm just kidding.
no, but there is, I do have like, and I'm sure she does too, but I have just highlighted things and I will write mom next to it because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, like that's, first off, can we just appreciate, first of all, I thought we were getting special treatment because this is not tequila, this is water. But he brought it in a tequila glass and he was bringing it over here and I'm like,
Yeah.
we're about to get,
Little commercial for Zapanta right now. You got to come. Zapanta Cantina. I don't know. We're at the corner of 8th and Madison in
Yes.
Covington. It's worth your time. Come down
So
here
good.
and get some grub.
Okay, so here's another one that I really thought that we both kind of do. We are taught to erase ourselves in service of others, right? So I can kind of speak on that a little bit because my basketball journey it was very, I wouldn't say one-sided because I did develop for a love for it. Obviously, I'm coaching, but it wasn't for me, all of me. It was to get somebody else's attention because, you know, that was the only time they would service me, right? Without having the basketball background, I don't think I would have gotten anything from that person.
And it's
you know,
it's a situation where you want those relationships, even if it's through athletics, are valuable, right? It's not that
Absolutely.
it wasn't valuable. It's that it was everything.
So,
We're doing great. Thank you so
you.
much. And so I think from that standpoint, you have to find a way to appreciate what you did get out of it versus what you didn't get out of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we expect people to do things that they're just not capable of.
then I think that's
just
also
a reality.
a form of self-sabotage, right?
It is. When we, one of the things that this is I'm gonna read the
Yeah.
highlighted parts and then you're gonna hit me over the head with that tequila bottle.
Tequila bottle.
For sure. When we adjust to dysfunction, including dysfunctional relationships, the cost is so high. We end up paying with our very beings, the essence of who we are. When you're dealing with manipulative people, it can lead to silencing our voice in the hope of gaining or keeping what is presented to us as love. Fallen in love with someone's potential when real love is rooted in truth, and truth is key to the homecoming journey.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful, eh?
Yeah. And I think it's funny that you highlighted that.
Mhm.
I highlighted look for ways in which love shines back in your direction and not just as your ability to love those who seek to destroy your spirit.
Oh, I missed that. I should have highlighted that.
I think we're very, like she said, we're empaths. We think we can change everybody. We think we can make everybody better.
Well, the
but-
next part says some of us stay in relationships not because of insecurity, but confidence.
Yeah.
You believed you could change them. You believed your love would be enough. You believed your loyalty would be rewarded. And that is not how it works.
Please hear us when we wait. Rescue mission, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, rescue
yes.
mission. But today you can make room for authentic love, a relationship and a partnership rather than a project or a rescue mission. I invite you to consider the fact that sometimes success is walking away from people who are destroying you.
And then I highlighted stepping away from this treatment is not a failure.
It's a win.
So again, we are talking about it's okay to be done. It is. And that, again, we're talking about friendships, relationships, work. If you are in a work situation that, yes, you've probably given 10 years of your life to this business, if it's destroying you, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Because at the end of the day, nobody in that business,
Yeah.
corporation has to deal with the mental and the emotions that you have from their decisions. And I think that's one thing that we are really good at is taking somebody else's consequences from their decisions. Does that make sense? Like we are the ones who bear the consequences of somebody else's decision.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes you have to be willing to walk away from that.
yeah, and know that it's okay. Like you're not a failure.
It's a lot.
That has to be a section of its own.
Well, that's why I put a big star by mine.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh wee. And I know we're reading a lot to you from the book, and we're talking about all the things, but this is a journey for us. And this is what my book looks like, y'all. I'm starring things and highlighting and having reference to go back for my own self. But I'm walking through relationship stuff right now. It's really, really, really hard. And knowing where to draw the line has been a challenge for me. It really has. And then, allowing people to look back on my life and want to come back in. Sometimes it's a hard pass, and I'm still figuring out how to do all of that, to be honest with you. And how to, like I told you earlier, the self-sabotage and knowing how to be loved, I'm not sure I know how to do that yet, but I will.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey. So, yeah. I think the one thing for me, Lex, that I have to get away from is people pleasing. I think that's this thing this black cloud that follows me.
I will say though, I think people pleasing does something for yourself. I think like there are limits, right? I think helping people is different from people pleasing, and I think we sometimes get those crossed.
Hold on for a second. Look at the wall.
Wow.
So I just happened to look up at the restaurant, and there's a huge quote by Emiliano Zapata. I'm sure that's who the restaurant's named after.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. And if that doesn't go right in line with what we're talking about here, so
funny how God works that way.
Yeah, sometimes He just puts stuff right in front of us.
But yeah, back to the people pleasing. Yes, I think people will get people pleasing and helping people cross. There is a difference. There is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think if you always are tending to needs of other people and not paying attention to what you need, you become disconnected again from your own journey, and that's something we just have to be super, super cautious of.
Yeah.
There's so much in this book. There's control issues, and there's self-sabotage, and all the things. And what it comes down to is never ever being in a situation where you're forced to devalue yourself.
So I call them the 4 C's. Okay. Confident, competent, capable, and compassionate. Those, I think if you have those 4, I think the journey home will be a lot easier to maybe access or go through. Because if you have, the confidence to get through, whatever hardship you're going through, confidence goes a long way, y'all. If you don't have confidence, it's really, really hard in this world.
Sunday night, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with a friend of mine, and she sat on my couch and said, you need to wash your hands. You need to know your worth. You need to remind yourself who you are. You need to remind yourself that you're the chooser, you're the queen, you're the boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I'm good at. And so, but she looked at me and said, until you do that, your experiences are going to be the same. You're going to attract the same kind of takers in your life. And that really sat with me.
I had heard something the other day, and because we are always talking about we attract a certain kind, right? But what happens if it's not the kind that's the problem? It's us.
That's
right. Like,
totally us. Because
we
they only do to us what we allow.
Right.
It's not their fault. They got away with it. Right. We could have said no.
And could have walked away multiple times and could have just been done. So.
But it's knowing when to walk away when you start to see those red flags. I have a really good friend of mine. Sorry, the guacamole is so good. Who
it's 2:17.
Okay. So we're gonna cut this one a little bit short today
because of life. Sorry,
we're
we got-
lifing today.
We're in full swing basketball season. So
Yeah,
it's
and
a
Lexi's
little
got to
crazy
get
right
to.
now. Yes.
We're doing great, thank you.
And I oof.
But I wanted to tell you really quick. She started dating this guy, and all the pictures and the things were awesome. And she called me and said, "Man, I see red flags." And I'm like, "You do? How can you see red flags? Everything's going so great." She goes, "I just see red flags." And she started telling me things, and I quickly recognized I personally would not have seen those red flags. And so she got out of the relationship, gracefully, and they went their separate ways. But I was so excited for her to have that, and envious of the ability to do that. I'm working towards it though. So, I think the takeaway from the first 4 chapters for me is we now get to take the pen and write the next chapter.
Yeah.
We're in full charge for us to write the next chapter and do whatever we have to do to love each other and take care of ourselves.
Yeah. And I think it empowers us. I think knowing that there are people in this world that have gone through the same things we have and come out on the other side, i.e. Tima Bryant, Dr. Tima Bryant, she has been through unimaginable things. So I think regaining that power back, selfishly and personally, it goes a long way. And I think when you regain that power, it attracts powerful people, right?
Yeah,
It attracts
for
the
sure.
right type of powerful people.
Yeah. And I'll keep you guys, I can't say too much about it, but I'm making some big moves. And they're with some really powerful people in our city. And those people are going to bat for me. Those people are amazing folks and are lobbying for me in a situation. So stay tuned. But I promise you this: you will always get authenticity from us. You will always be a part of our journey. This is huge that we have our YouTube crew, and you're going to watch us come out on the other side. And whoever is with us and needs to take that journey with us, please come along, because we got you.
Yeah.
We love you. We will hold your hand. We will build a community of people that are ready for this journey. So please come along. We are going to shoot our podcast every Tuesday. We're going to try for 12 o'clock, but sometimes life happens. We'll
Can we go into, first off, today started as a
cluster. For the
so
love.
she's been picking me up from Dayton. We need to go fund me set up so I can get a car. No, I'm just kidding. So she's been coming to get me from Dayton for the past couple days, and today we are driving past Westchester, and the gas light comes on. I'm like, oh, well, we probably should stop and get gas. So we stopped at the Shell, get gas. Well, we'll attempt to get gas. She has this nice 2023 BMW, whatever, and the gas thing.
The lever wouldn't work
lever.
to open the gas tank for us to get gas. So
We
people
probably-
come over and help us. They
Yeah.
can't get it open. So when all else fails, you drive to Starbucks. Because that was going to be helpful.
Well, at that point, we were so low on caffeine, and we needed just some type of coffee.
So we go to Starbucks. And we press the button and boop, pops right open. So I said, leave that mother lover open. Something like that. So we could drive back to the gas station and fill up. So that put us behind. And then unfortunately, we got the call to go see my friend who is losing that battle. Cancer sucks, y'all.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad. But say a prayer for her and the family, and we're gonna wish them strength and perseverance through this incredibly difficult time. So
And, just a nice, and we hope that with what's going to happen, that it gets easier, because being in that position is really hard, and watching someone that you love, in that position is really, really hard.
yeah, she recognized us. I think that's what got me.
Yeah.
And she hadn't realized you were in the room, and we stood at the end of her bed to, say goodbye. And she looked up and said, "Oh my God, Alexis, you're so beautiful." And I think for me, that was
Just a little tug on your heartstring, right?
man.
And to think that this woman babysat me right after preschool and kindergarten and elementary school,
she made it possible for me to go to work
Yeah.
peacefully because I knew you were in good hands.
Yeah.
And then you grew up with her daughter, and you guys were best friends through.
Played soccer for years
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So
Amazing family.
I mean, to think that they've already had one family member beat cancer, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
they did. This didn't turn out like that, but
no, it did.
and we shout out our love and support for all of them. So, guys, pick up the pen and come with us while we write the next chapter. We love you all, and your effort to be on with us. If you will go like our podcast, share, subscribe, it really helps us make sure that you don't miss an episode. So we love you from Zapanta Katina in Covington, and we will announce our location for next Tuesday in a couple days.
And don't be afraid to comment. Our comment crew is so amazing. We love answering questions, even just, seeing what you have, your thoughts. We love to interact with you guys. And this is an open podcast, right? If you want to come over here and talk and just talk about you and what your experience are, we would love that. We encourage that. So reach out. My Instagram is Lex Starks 42, LEXSTARKS 42. So if you have questions about wanting to come, or you want questions, anonymously asked on here, do that as well. She's typing our bio or socials right now.
What's mine? At Leanne Starks?
Yeah, it might be Leanne Starks 42. She has 700 different social media sites.
I
So
don't know about 700, but
oh, well, it's close.
oh.
God, we don't want to see that.
Leanne Starks Realty.
Oh, and also, realty questions. I'm going to advertise this now. She's probably going to be mad, but we are building a team. We want more realtors in our industry on our team. You will be well taken care of over here.
Yes.
Like I said, any questions that you guys have?
A little commercial for EXP Realty.
Yeah.
There's not another company in the world, like the whole world, that's doing what we're doing, that gives you stock options, that offers health benefits, that offers revenue share. So, at the end of the day, guys, if you have any real estate needs, of course, we are here to support you in every way. But if you're an agent out there, let's have a conversation about EXP. Another authentic moment. I fought it for 5 years. I'll never go to EXP. All they do is da 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 da. When I look back, it was a huge mistake. When I evaluate the stock and all of the things that took place, it was a $500,000 mistake for me. So don't be me. Let's talk, and we'll make sure that you're in the right situation and have all access to all the things. So
Yeah.
cheers from Zapanta.
Oh,
We
yes.
are headed to Wyoming High School. She's got practice,
Yeah.
and I've got to get Griffin from Newport High School. Shout out to the Wildcats, guys. Come see us play. It's gonna be good stuff. So love y'all.
Love you
Peace.
guys. Bye.
Bye.